All right, so I logged into Figma, and there's a couple of things that I want to explore with you from this side. So this would be considered the dashboard, right? You can see a lot of different things all in one, but this is also going to be a really great way of kind of figuring out, all right, where do I go from here? Or how can I learn Figma further? But yeah, like you can see, I'm logged in right up here. I'm also logged in. It tells me what account I'm in. Figma allows for you to have multiple accounts. So there's that. You can see here that we have our recents. So whatever files we are working on. Again, Figma is a cloud-based design software. So you must be connected to the internet in order to use it. And then you'll see here that also, I'm not quite sure if you saw this, but you can also use it on a mobile device as well. But I, again, love seeing our interface right here and working on a computer. It's just so much faster for me. So you can see here that there's going to be a section for drafts where you can create a new file with a little plus sign, just like many other software types. Every time you see a plus sign, again, that's going to be a, it's going to add or something like this. You can download Figma files. So you'll see here that there's the import file button here. And if you had some kind of like images from different software types or another software like Sketch, then you can go ahead and add that in. But again, if you download your Figma to save it to your desktop, for instance, you'll be able to go ahead and re-upload that as well. So that's just a little bit of that area of Figma. You can also see Explore Community. So if you click on this, this is going to put you in the like big, vast community of what people are creating in Figma. This is a really great place for, at least for me, I love to come here to get ideas. You can also see different plugins that are available for you to use, and also some kind of places where, for instance, like you can see, Figma is trying to explain auto layout and some other new features that they have. So again, you might want to take a look at this. You can also see that there are free like product mockups, etc. We're not quite here yet, but this is actually kind of a cool place to kind of get excited or come for inspiration if you'd like. So let me go back a step. So I'm in community right here. I'm just going to go back in my web browser to make that a little bit easier for me to get back. And you'll see here that I have, here's the thing. Figma is free for students in education, but they're always going to be like, hey, like, don't you want to upgrade? So if I hit upgrade, you'll see here that it will have the professional educational plans. Or, I'm sorry, not educational, organizational plans, but we are not one of these, so we will not be upgrading anytime soon. Below here, you'll see where there are teams. You can join and leave teams, etc. I will be putting you into teams eventually, so please hold out on that. And you'll see that there'll be projects that you can actually decide, like, oh, for this team, we'll call this the web wireframing team project. Or if you wanted to, you can talk about very specific things like asset management project, if you'd like. So right now it's just me by myself, but eventually I'll be able to be added in all of your teams as well. Now, what I'd love for you guys to do is start with and maybe a template if you are interested. This is going to be a really great way of learning how to use Figma in a more realistic sense. You can, of course, on your own choose to take a look at Figma basics or wireframing. That's fine. But I would say hang tight there. We can go ahead and start with creating a mood board. That is our first assignment in Figma, just so we can kind of get used of the software. That is what my hope is. Another thing that we'll be doing is eventually accessing a jam file together once we start group projects. But for this assignment, we'll be going ahead and starting with a a Figma document and creating a mood board. So the first thing is, if you want to start with a mood board that they have available, so you can see here, there's a search bar up here that actually will search a lot of files. You can also see, if I type in the word mood board, that it has lots of templates that will be available to you. If you want to try and use one of the templates that are available, then go ahead. But I'm going to go ahead and start a brand new document. So I'm going to get out of this search field. Let's go ahead and, oh, wait, I wanted to tell you this. In the Fig Jam templates, that's going to be a little bit different than our design file. So let's go ahead and use our design file things. So I'm gonna hit the plus sign. Wow, I am just in, this is Figma proper. And you can see here that I have layers, assets, and different pages. Now, if I click on pages, this is gonna be a really great way of organizing what content you can see on, here we go, what page. When we explore kind of creating prototypes, people can use pages in different ways. There's a lot of different ways of organizing this, but for me, I'm just gonna use this one page. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and start putting stuff in it. The first bit, you can see here underneath our move tools, we have move in scale. Next to that are the shortcuts for that. So move is V and scale is K. If I go a little bit further up here, you can see this is going to be for slicing frames and then creating frames here. You also can notice if I click on, so I just want to show you when I'm clicking on one of these tools up here, that we have an area on the opposite side that is design, prototype, and inspect. So we're going to be in the design phase, but prototyping would be the next phase of document, well, not document creation, but creating a functional website, etc. But right now we're going to be more in the editing or designing mode. Prototyping is another version of that, but more or less kind of creating user pathways. And then inspecting, you'll see the code that is generated from that. So we have CSS, iOS, and Android. Underneath prototype, we have some other functions for prototyping. And then, of course, we have our design tools. If you want to, look at this. I have a walkthrough of Figma's unique editor and collaboration features. If you want to, you can hit show me around, and it will be kind of that guide through. This is a really great way of kind of getting your bearings when it comes to Figma as well. But what I'll do is talk a little bit about these portions as we go. So as we were talking, we have our a few things. So we have our move tools, etc. Underneath this tab, we have our constraints, and you'll see here that what it's done is it kind of created different ones. So these are going to be considered like maybe templates. If you see iPhone, it creates the constraints or the guidelines of the size of the iPhone here. You can see that we are starting to get other layer options. So again, underneath pages, I'm here, but then you'll see that this constraint is that first, you can think about it as like a wireframe or a window, or the first screen for if I were to make an app. But that's something that I'm not going to do. So I'm going to do a Command Z. All of those same things work to undo. But yeah, and then if I go forward here, I have, again, shape tools and place image. This is to create vector art. I have a pen tool and a pencil tool. Type. The hand tool, which I assume is, I think you're just going to use as something to move around, but not actually move the object, but move around the screen once it's all folded up. And we have our comments. So comments and feedback are so important in Figma. This is one of the reasons why I want to use the software, is because it's a collaborative tool. So it'll be a really great time I can leave comments for you. You can leave comments on your teammates' work, and it'll be a lot easier to track. So yeah, this is really, really nice. It allows for us to highlight certain specific things. You can see here that you can access it using Shift and C. And then, oh yeah, it's telling me I should add an avatar. Well, no, I'm not ready. So there's that. And you can also keep track of your feedback as well. You can also sort different types of things that are, unread, show resolved comments, etc. Very similar to if you've ever used a Word document that had tracking applied to it. Now for this button here at the top, you'll see that there's a presentation button. The presentation button is going to kind of allow us to kind of see our finalized product as is, depending on how far we get. In this case, we're just making a mood board, but that's going to allow for you to present your ideas without some of the back end or editing work. Speaking of presenting your ideas, this is another one that you will be intimate with, which is the share. So what you'll see is I'll ask you for an invite or some ability to view. So you can go ahead and copy the link here. So you can say, oh, anyone with a link can view. And then you'll copy the link, and that's what you'll submit when we are back in Canvas for your homework. Now, say for instance, there'll be something like, eventually with our presentations, you might want to even get an embed code to share it within our discussions. So that's something to think about. I wanted to kind of let you know that for the future. Also, you can, of course, move files. So if you happen to have a draft that you're working on and you don't want to, I guess, show your team, then you want to move the file into your team space, you can actually do that by hitting move file, and then you'll be able to move that to your team or project. So that's all under share. Let me go back to my page. Very similar to Adobe, I need to have something highlighted in order to make this other side of the screen the correct thing to see. So for instance, when I was underneath share, I'm sorry, where was I? I was underneath something else like comments. It was all comment related. If I'm going to like a move tool or something that's going to be more design based, it's going to change this area as well. So I'm back in the move tool just to show you guys export. So the export portion here, if I hit the plus sign, it allows me to, very similar to some of their Adobe products, like Illustrator, you'll be able to kind of say, oh, I'd like to export this asset and export it out at a particular size or file type. You'll see there's a little preview window. Right now I have nothing in this file. This is all kind of like the workspace, but not necessarily my file itself. So I just wanted to go ahead and show you export where you might find that. All right. But yeah, let's go ahead and, oh, one more area. This big F for Figma. You can see here that I have back to files, quick actions, and some of the other types of things that we more traditionally will want. So think about like this as the file, area. So this underneath F, you'll have all of the file menu things that you normally will see. Like we have a longhand version of these tools, like new design file, new FigGem file, new from sketch file, save a local copy. So that means that they'll be saving it to your desktop, and then export, etc. You'll have lots of different edit and view settings, including your zoom settings underneath view, pixel preview, mask outlines, all these really great stuff. So these are going to be those more in-depth tools, or things that need maybe a little bit more tweaking, but that's really important to kind of know where this is. And then they do have a desktop app, but again, remember, it requires connection to the internet. So if you just don't want to have a web browser open, then totally understand. You might want to get the desktop application. Now you can see here that there's a 74%, and that's our zoom rate or zoom setting. And I can zoom in, zoom to fit, all of these different zoom settings here. That's because these files can get quite large. And you'll see that there's so many, or this almost like endless amount of space that you get on this canvas. Now, I want to go ahead and start creating this file, going through kind of making a mood board, but I hope that this was kind of like a good overview of where things might be or where you might find certain tools in Figma. And then at the very bottom, of course, if you don't know what is going on or you might need help, that is always available to you. Help, and they have our help center, help forum, YouTube videos, and some other things that you can go ahead and contact support with. So if, again, you find that you're getting stuck or you can't find something, this is a really great way of finding that help, support. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and conclude this video. In the next video, we'll start on creating that document.